Everybody to the panel. Let's get started this evening. If anybody doesn't know our format, we call ourselves It's Party Marty. One thing we need to always do is grow and learn. Ervin Reid is a political analyst, and he is my friend. Graduated from the great Northwestern with me. That means we've been friends for over 50 years. If you don't know my story with Gina Lee, I call her Rosanna, Dana, Anna. We've been friends since the kindergarten, literally. We went to kindergarten together. We grew up together as teenagers, hanging out. The person that's over there that shares my last name is Mrs. Tates. They call it CC. That is my lovely wife. If anybody does not know the format that we follow, all we do is get in there and jump in on a bunch of topics. Everybody talks about their topic for a period of time, and the panel is designed to answer it, jump in, jump on it, whatever. Out there in podcast land, we want you to chime in, get your opinion. Our producer, Donnie Glover, blackusa.news, BeMoreNews.com is our fearless leader. He's in there, as they would say if we were at the club, he's on the mic. So, that being said, without further ado, let's get this party started. What we do every episode before we go off, we always give our Lord, God, I call him, which everyone calls somebody God, a prayer. I explained to everyone out there, I keep ever vigilant with my history. My history is a shadowed past, we'll call it. You know, persons in the world may call it a shadow past. It's real simple in West Baltimore. We call it ex-dope fiend, crack alley, jailbird, West Baltimore thug. Once again, ex-dope fiend, crack addict, jailbird, ex-West Baltimore thug. I like to always make mention of where I'm coming from because I know where I'm going, and it's an awesome God we serving. People, if y'all don't know, shout out to my rehab, I'll call it. We call it in the room as a sponsor. His name is Kurt. Mr. Kurt is, I did my addiction support system. How y'all like the way I put that? My addiction support system. One more time. My addiction support system. You know what that means? That means that I wash cars on Fulton and Monroe Street to support my drug, crack, street habit. This place was called Peachtree. I met Kurt there, illustrious gentleman, easygoing, and what he used to do, we had two sides of what we would call the street. Those of us that were on the lot washing the cars, we were on that side of the street. The persons that was getting their car washed and sitting over there and having a drink and eating food that came from Lexington Market, and Gina's going to talk about that topic a little later, sat across the street on the steps. So we were literally no more than 50 yards from each other. 50, I wouldn't say feet because we were down the hole, yards from each other. Ervin and we were literally in two different worlds. We were in two different worlds. It was Kurt and them on the other side waiting for us to wave over to tell them that your car's done, and it was those of us on the other side of the street that were there trying to get $6 to do the car. Kurt saw that I was once a good dude, you know what I mean, a straight-up dude, a stand-up dude, but I was caught in the grip. So he never judged me. He never judged me, and people always talk about friends forever. Me and Ervin and I have been knowing each other over 50 years. You know, at the great Northwestern High, which to me is WILDCATS, which to me is the most awesome high school you could go to. Only because it was a melting pot, as people call it in New York. It was a melting pot. Ervin's a Cherry Hill D, through and through. Now he's he'll tell you his background as a political analyst too. He runs elections. We'll call it elections. He chose persons who to vote for and what have you, and uses his candidate. But Ervin and I went to school together, but we never really hung together. I knew who he was. He knows who I am. I'm not going to talk much about his checker pass. If he ever wants to tell you, he will. Ervin is probably a good counter because back in the day, Ervin rolled dice. You know what I mean? We may have learned how to count from anywhere. You know, real talk. It's how you learn. Learn come from anywhere. Ervin wears Cherry Hill on his sleeve. On
Absolutely.
his sleeve, you hear me? I don't care what you're talking about. You could be talking about Harford County, how this is going. He's going to ease Cherry Hill back in there. That's where
Yep.
he's from, born and bred. Right, Erv?
Yep. Every day.
Yeah. Cherry Hill do. You know what I mean? So that's just giving you some format. You know, Donnie Glover taught me to say, not always say you know. As he told me about saying, you know, I say you know more now than I ever did at first. It's funny when these podcasts, I go back and look at them. You know, I go back and look at them and see what I did right, what I did wrong. This evening I was a little beat up because CC and I, that should be a topic that we talk about the cable people. One way in, one way out. Yeah, anybody you say that, you know, that's Cherry Hill. No matter what's going on in Cherry Hill, no matter how many fights you in, when it's all over, you're going to come through Blue Water Cafe down to Bobbin Hill, and they're going to be waiting for you. And as Tiffany Smithrick taught us, the beautiful people and the wonderful people, you may not want to elude them and go the other way through Curtis Bay, where the wonderful people are, because you got it's hell to pay going that way too. So Kurt said to me, and if you don't know this, people, it doesn't matter if you worship your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, doesn't matter if you worship Buddha, doesn't matter if you worship the Lord, the honor, the number 51 bus. If it doesn't matter if you worship the Honorable Elijah B. Muhammad, doesn't matter if you worship trees or you pray to black BMWs that was made in 1957. All of us pray to a God. They taught us that in my addiction, a God of your understanding, a God of your understanding. So I strongly urge people when you get a chance to get your prayers in one way or another. If you don't get your prayers in, just join in our podcast and you'll get your prayers in with us when we start. So what we always do now is we get our quick prayer in. After our prayer, we have a moment of silence to think back about somebody that you want to think about in your moment of silence. Then we go on with the program. Okay, y'all, prayer starting. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's going on in all our lives. Father God, thank you for BlackUSA.News. Father God, thank you for BeMoreNews.com. Father God, thank you for Donnie Glover. We always make sure that we get our prayers in for the pandemic. We make sure to get our prayers in for those people over there fighting these God-forsaken wars so we can do podcasts, eat bonbons, and go to clubs and what have you. Most of all, Father God, we make sure to get our prayers in for the world. The world, we're in need of prayer now, Father God. So please touch us. Do whatever you can, Father God. Please make the words come out straight. Father God, make the panel feel it as we talk about the topics that we talk on. And Father God, may we all know that these are just small blessings given from you that allow us to do it. Moment of silence, please. Amen.
Amen.
All right, amen, panel. That's what's going on. Now, let's start off with the good evening. Good evening, Gina Lee,
Good
Rosanna,
evening.
Diana. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
CC Tates, my lovely wife.
Good evening.
And good evening, Mr. Ervin Reid, my political consultant.
Good evening, my brother. Always a
As,
pleasure.
thank you. Actually, my friend of over 50 years, Donnie Glover, says amen. We're going to we jump around on different topics, and that's our format. We go from there, but we have a new format that we do. We start with the elephant in the room, meaning that we start off with a topic that everybody is to join in, talk about, give your opinion on. It's always something that we need to talk about. My topic tonight, the elephant in the room. I heard a lot about Tyler Perry in the award ceremony to the panel. What was the award just went off the Oscars?
Yeah.
Yep.
The Oscars. Tyler
Yes.
Perry had Tyler Perry had a speech there or a conversation. My wife was saying about don't hate the police.
It was.
Don't hate the police. Go ahead,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah,
It was.
don't hate.
Yeah, and it was the police were included, but it was a very powerful speech, and it was about you know the to not hate. Period. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? That some people are so far to the left, so far to the right. Let's meet in the middle and have a conversation. Because he said that in the middle is where change happens. And he said, don't hate the police, don't hate Asian people. Don't hate white people. Don't hate black people. Just don't
Okay.
hate. Like just the meet in the middle and have a conversation, because that's where the real change will happen. And I mean, it was such a powerful. It was only 4 minutes long, but it was like such a powerful speech.
Okay, good. Thank you for starting us off with that topic, CC. Give them some information. This is a show that we use. This is a show that Donnie Glover spearheads. This is not a black show to the listeners. This is not a white show. It's not an old show. It's not a new show. It's just a show of information. Tyler Perry is right. We shouldn't hate the police the root. Here's my first comment to the panel. My youngest son uh, calls himself Jay or something like that in his on his Facebook or Instagram page, but his name is Jalen. It's my youngest son. My son is a sheriff. He's a sheriff. And in Virginia, he's been in law enforcement for a minute, and he's a different kind of sheriff. He's just not a sheriff. He's a card, bachelor degree, intelligent individual. Once a man, a card carrying, degree carrying, a bachelor degree carrying individual who chose law enforcement as his career. I'm sure he's moving up in that now because he has a. I didn't understand when he told me that. Not I didn't understand. Me and his mother didn't understand when he said that he was going to be a police officer. He started off as a police officer, then went to a sheriff and whatever he's doing now. He's in law enforcement. I didn't understand that. Gina and Ervin, why did you go to school, get this college degree, use up our money, our time and stuff like that to be an officer? You could have just became an officer anyhow. You walk off the street, be a cop, right? See up the street, it's a speed trap up there where they tell you how fast you're going and what have you. It doesn't say anything about the speed, and all it's doing is telling you that Baltimore County is hiring. Baltimore County
Yeah.
Police is hiring. They're 100% in need of people to be officers. So I didn't understand that. But some people want some save the world stuff. You know, some people, as we're saying, as CC was saying, meet in the middle. Ervin has always been smart. He's been I can remember. Hi, Cookie. How you doing? That noise that y'all hear, that's my dog, Cookie. Anytime you walk by the door, our ring doorbell, and it makes some noise, right? See, she thinks somebody outside, so her job is to protect us. See, don't fuss at the dog. I knew that was coming. That's why Herb, Gina, to everybody out in TV land, I take my dog everywhere I go. I don't leave the dog in the house with CC because when the dog act up, not so much now, she don't get in trouble now. But at one time, she would get in trouble and CC put in a cage. You know what I mean? So she's her way of teaching her. But as I always tell you, to be in the ex-jailbreak thug that I am since 16 years old, when they didn't understand me, y'all, you know what they did? They put me in a cage. Boys Village, Training School, Cheltenham, Montrose, all the way up to the city jails and the Hagerstowns. So I didn't want CC to put the dog in the cage, so I took the dog with me. You know what I mean? Can't put in the cage if I got it, because I ain't gonna put in the cage. But after that, what I learned was teaching. To me, she was being mean to the dog, put in the cage. What she was doing, Free Willie, free Cookie. Man, what she was doing was teaching the dog. Now the dog doesn't get in trouble. I know I'm monopolizing the conversation, but I'm trying to give you a format. My mother, the late, great Catherine Tates, once again, my mother, the late, great Catherine Tates, we were trained to the look, and Gina will tell you about this because I know this personally about her, because I know Gina from being picked up in the kindergarten, and her family is into politics. When you start talking about the Rawlins and all them kind of stuff like that, that's literally a family. That's literally a family. She's been educated. Her parents and them are teachers and people of that nature and educators and politicians. So she's been in that field. There's nothing that you can tell about that. When people talk about politicians aren't any good, Gina will tell you, well, I got a real good uncle. He happens to be a politician. I'm a real good individual. I happen to be a politician. That's your format. That's your back history. That's what Tyler Perry said. When everybody says police ain't no good and stuff like that, I have to stop you right there because my son is a good man. That's his career. He's a police officer. But my son is an awesome individual. So as Tyler Perry taught us and stuff, don't just hate the police. Y'all get some information. Follow this podcast. Talk about some topics on some things that you really wouldn't know about. You know, you wouldn't know about these things until you get some information on it. Ervin, if he told me he was going to be a political consultant 50 years ago, I'd still be on the floor laughing. First of all, Ervin, I thought that he would always have a prestigious job, making a lot of money, because he always knew about money. He always knew about money. And that being said, I think Ervin became a political consultant because he's a save the world person. He wants to save the world through his candidate. He wants to make everything better through his Cherry Hill Foundation. Now, the elephant in the room. We've already got our format together. The elephant in the room is we're going to talk about all the mass shootings. All this appears to have no end. It appears to have no end. You know, every week, you know, it used to be every year, every month. You know, there's every week it's a different shooting. It's turned into every day it's a different mass shooting. So now every hour, when people talk about them, do a lot of watching the news, Ervin, Gene, and CC. When y'all start talking about these shootings and what have you, I miss them a lot. And then it dawns on me, the shooting that you're talking about just happened. I'm still thinking it was Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm still thinking it was the church with the bomb the church. You know, because people don't have the information, they don't know. It's going on all the time. A lot of people throw prayer at everything. That's what they do. Well, we're going to deal with it. Let's pray on it. Okay, let's pray on it. That's true, but let's talk about it. I'm going to put this out to the floor. Does anybody have in their wildest dreams a thought on why, I mean, this is so prevalent right now? I'm appalled that it's going on so much. It's depressing, Donnie. I'm appalled that it's going on so much, but what is it? My wife hit me with a startling statistic last week before the show started that over 47 mass shootings had happened since, was it Freddie Gray? And then before the show was over,
50.
it went up to 50.
It's 50.
It went to 50. It went to 50 in a period of a day. Wow. 3 more people grab some guns and start banging it. I mean, we know that it's sick. But does anybody, is it depression now? Is it the pandemic? Does anybody have anything that they want to comment on that topic? Panel.
Well, I think, you know, I guess being in politics, just a little bit about my background. My degree is in math, actually. And I got into politics by accident because actually I wanted to make money, Marty. So someone told me in order to make money, you got to be involved in politics. But it just so happened my business ended up being politics. But watching over the last 30 years, I've been telling my friends, and most of my friends disagreed with me. I've been telling them for 30 years, things have gotten worse for the Black community than better. We get a Black president, we celebrate. We get Black people in office, we celebrate. But at the same time, again, like Marty said, I'm rich. And rich, I mean, I'm R-I-C-H. I'm raised in Cherry Hill. So, and I've always cared about my community.
Well, Ervin. What? Get to us again, Rich. Get to us again.
I'm rich. That's R-I-C-H. I'm raised in Cherry Hill. So all of us in Cherry, we all rich. And that's basically who I care about.
Love it.
And as I've gotten older and older, I've watched, you know, the Baltimore City public schools are crazy. When we went to school at Northwestern, like I said, everybody went to class. We all passed. We all could read. We all could write. And I try to explain to my friends, the system isn't broke. It's working the way it's supposed to work. These killings are happening because it's the way it's supposed to work. The insurrection, the reason that I could have got some brothers from Southeast for free that would have stood in front of that Capitol and dared them people to come in there. But it was all by design. And these killings and all of that, it's by design. And until we as African Americans wake up and look in the mirror, I'm not blaming white supremacists. I'm not blaming Trump. I'm not blaming any. I'm blaming us because we're in a position now. Martin Luther King died. I remember when King died. I was old enough to remember that. And he died, put his life on the line. Then we get people in office and be talking about, well, no, don't take the job if you don't want to do it. You can't make what $200,000-$300,000 be the school superintendent and the kids walk around with 1.8. We gotta get these people out of there. People need to uphold what they're doing. But all this killing, I mean, this country has gotten worse. It's totally divided. When Donald Trump can get 70 million people to vote his way, that means people are okay with racism. They are. It's blatant, but it's always been there. And now we got to wake up and we got to look out for us and say, look, you know, I mean, I love like Marion Barry. Marion Barry, one of my favorite politicians. Marion Barry said, I don't have a problem with white folk, with Jewish folk, with Indian folk. I just love black folk. So I'm looking out for them first. But it's designed to do, the laws dictate what we're going to do. And
you know, that was the whole fact that Donald Trump could even become president in the first place was very telling. You know what I'm saying? It was some people were shocked. I wasn't shocked, and I wasn't surprised because racism has never gone anywhere. It just was not politically correct or socially acceptable to blatantly out and out be a racist. But he made it okay. He made it okay. And so now they never going back now. They out the closet, they never going back. So we as black people have to prepare ourselves for, as you said, just to love black people more. We don't hate them. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, so the Bible say, forgive them for they know not what they do. But at the same time, we got to know to love ourselves and to put our people and our cause ahead of anything else. Learn from them.
Right.
You know, on that format, good start, Ervin, good comment, CC. On that format, just like we were saying, people always talk about, you know, we're doing a lot better now with holding the police accountable. We're not doing any better with holding the police accountable. My wife always said, we just got cell phones now. Everybody running around with a camera in their hand. You know what I mean? It's just not that it's just started. It's just now being filmed. You know, the Proud Boys. Everybody think the Proud Boys just sprung up out the grass somewhere yesterday. They were the Ku Klux Klan for they were the Proud Boys. And when people start talking about Donald Trump, I mean, you know, he was a racist, bigot, asshole. You know, he was just all for himself. So we see it, but you see, it's hard to tell that to the Donnie Glovers of the world. It's hard to tell that to the Ervin Reids of the world because they see both sides. I want y'all to always understand and remember this. The greatest president that I know, to me, is Mr. Barack Obama. He's the greatest president I know. The reason why he's the greatest president I know, because he got me out there to vote because he was black. I didn't really pay much attention to what the Honorable Mr. Obama did when he was in office or not. I was just so fascinated with the fact that we had a black president. When I listen to political analysts, Donnie Glover, Doc Cheatham, Ervin Reid, and stuff like that, they aren't always pleased with the brother. They always say he could have did a lot more, a whole lot more. And if you look at your homework, I'm sure he could have. Then when people get mad at Donald Trump said point blank, I'm whiting them for white people. I'm whiting them for white people. Was somewhere along the line, wouldn't we wish that we had a candidate that 100% that was black that really put us in the forefront? You know what I mean? That did everything spearheaded for us. You know, all Donald Trump did what we knew he was going to do. As y'all said, 7 whatever billion people, or 70%.
7 billion
people.
I mean,
what was it?
It's
how many people voted for him? What was it again, Ervin?
It's 70 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Biden had like 7 million.
And the thing about it is, him coming out saying that made him a hero with his people, but for a black man wouldn't do it because it would be political suicide for him. That would be the end of his career.
But see, this is not the issue though. It might be political suicide, but it was death for Martin Luther King and others. And
absolutely,
literally,
Marty and I disagree. To me, what Barack Obama, see, you can't sit here and say that we have a white racist in the military doing certain things when for 8 years the number one guy in charge of the military was black. They were supposed to do something. When you get in the office and you're a black man or black woman, you're supposed to do something for black people. I don't care because everybody else does it. So all of these killings and stuff, like when you get a chance to make a difference, because there are kids in Cherry Hill that ain't gonna eat tonight, in the richest nation in the world. There are people in prison doing 30 years for a joint, and these things aren't right. So no, I'm not giving anybody a pass. If you want to be in office, get ready to get your ass whipped, because that's
right.
what
And you gotta be prepared to make those hard decisions. I totally agree with you.
But he didn't do that. Barack did not do that. He didn't, it was all, can we get along, lottie-dottie, everybody? No, we can't get along until we realize, until we get what we deserve. A lot of people went after Ice Cube during the last election. I agree with Ice Cube. He was saying, no, not minority, black. Because black people, Native Americans have special laws that protect them in this country. People that are indigenous to Alaska and Hawaii have special laws. We are a unique situation. We were brought to this country, without our permission. We built this country. There should be certain laws that protect us as well, instead of that minority. We're gonna have 8 next to white women in there. Okay, so we got to change all that, and we need elected officials that go on in there that's ready, like Marion Barry. People don't understand. Marion took the hit. FBI spent like 15 million. They got him online. Yup, they did set him up with women, did everything to get him out. But Marion wasn't gonna say. But at the same time, they couldn't get him unelected because he protected the people of DC that look like us. And but no, I'm not giving nobody a pass. You're gonna be in office, I'm not giving you a pass, because that means people in Cherry Hill that look like me gonna suffer more. And I'm not for that one, because I'm
Good,
rich.
good. Gina Lee, get in there.
Well, I'm listening, and I agree with everything that Ervin is saying, because even though we voted for Barack Obama, and I agree with you too, Marty. I mean, I was looking forward to his presidency. I was very, looking forward to it. But as Erv said, if he isn't going to take the reins and help his people, then what was that all about? Was it a show? Was it just, oh, well, we got a black president? What did it do for us? And I agree with that. Was he just a benchmark? Was he just someone we put on a pedestal and did not really receive anything?
Wow.
But at the same time, you get this person that just left who tore everything that he tried to start down, and then on top of that, put his racist rhetoric on top of it, and now we're even worse than we were before Barack Obama came into office.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying to myself just last night, I was looking at something that said, you got Vanessa, just think, you had Vanessa Williams. She was put out of the Miss America pageant because she had a nude photo, but yet and still you got nude photos of the president's wife all over the internet. But these people are ready to ignore that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but you got a couple like Rock and Michelle who don't have any marks against them, that we can't at least try to support. No. I again agree with her that he could have done more, but I was definitely looking forward to his presidency. I definitely was.
On that note, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of the most proud moments that I've ever known was the day that he became our president. It was something that I laughed about that I never thought would happen in my lifetime. It would never be a black president with some kind of joke. And then we always saw, remember, Cece, my wife and I used to laugh Ervin, when he was doing his inaugural win, he kept jumping out of the car. Did y'all see the Secret Service keep trying to tell him to get back in? Him and Michelle, every 5 minutes they jumped out of the car. They walking up, said somebody gonna shoot him. Somebody gonna shoot him. That's all we kept thinking was when they gonna kill this guy. You know, we never talked about anybody shooting Donald Trump. This no good snake. But we worried about what they were going to do to Barack Obama. You know, because we didn't know. Okay, y'all, that was our format to get started. We got our show started, and this is how I usually like to go. We're going to change the pace now by staying with the same pace. We got Mr. Ervin Reid, a political consultant, as I'm saying to my friend who's rich. Anybody that know what rich stands for? Raised in Cherry Hill. One more time, RICH, rich means raised in Cherry Hill. Anybody that knows some of these things that you pick up from here? God, Gina Lee taught us God, G-O-D, is greatness on demand. That's what we are, greatness on display. God, G-O-D, you're looking at greatness on display. You know what I mean? And CC, her little line is plain and simple. Pick up a book. Pick up a book. We're going to learn something every now and then. Pick us up. My wife's a geek. All she does is read. Like I said, she'll read a ketchup bottle. We get in the market and stuff, buying stuff, you know. I asked my wife, how is she such a good cook or stuff like that? She said, because I can read. My mother told me a long time ago, but it wasn't in my life, so it didn't matter. Do you all know that even when you buy a bag of potatoes, just a regular bag of white potatoes, do you know there's greatness on display? Do you know that even a bag of white potatoes comes with instructions on how to cook a potato? If you ever want to learn the,
well, you know, in years past, that's how they hid stuff from us. Put it in writing because we didn't know how to read.
Exactly. Exactly. We're going to let you start the show off tonight, Irv. I know you have a topic. I don't know if you've been watching, but our format usually goes like this, Irv. I'm going to start it. I'm going to let Gina Lee show you our introduction, how we do. And I'll stop and I'll say, like, some move like, as I segue in, I'll say, how you doing this evening, Ervin? I'm Marty. What's your topic today? Let's talk. And Gina Lee would say, your turn, Gina.
I'm Erv, and I'm glad to be here on Marty, Let's Talk, reporting. And
and you go from there. So let me do what they call segue in. I'm a segue into my good friend. Okay, Irv. I'm Marty. What's your topic tonight? Let's talk.
My good friend, I am Ervin Reid. I am excited to be here. Always excited to talk to you and your guests. And my topic is STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in Black folk. And I wanted, like I said, my background, I have a degree in math. I went to Bowie State. While I was at Bowie, I was a programmer, computer programmer with the National Weather Service. Then when I graduated, I spent 10 years in corporate America in sales, in high-tech sales. So technology has always been my number one love. And I got into politics by accident. I wanted to automate campaigns, ended up managing campaigns. But I get, there's a thing going on in America, just like politics when I look at it. And this digital divide, and we think of kids when we think about it, it's so much deeper than that. And we're not really focusing on what's happening with us in America. There was a sister up at Harvard, professor. Her name was like LaTanya Sweeney or something like that. Latasha, she had a black name. And she was being interviewed. And the guy came in and said, look, you know, congratulations, you're at Harvard, you this, that, and the other. And, you know, it's great, you know, considering you had been arrested. She said, I've never been arrested. And so he said, well, no, when I Googled you, and when you did the Google, and it came up, and it had, you know, the first things that you get when you Google are ads. And one of the ads was, you know, Natasha Sweeney arrested, this, that, and the other. And if you pay for it, you can go and see the record, to your record and all of that. But if you don't, that's all you see. So this guy, so she did a study about names, about black names against white names. And when you go on and you get, you know, you Google somebody and do all of that, or if you're on Facebook, the ads that you get, And this is really dividing us, and our kids are being hurt. We as a group are being hurt. And give you an example. If I'm a black kid living in Cherry Hill and I want to be an astronaut, and if NASA has like a free program, and if you live in Bethesda and you're a white kid, because of where you live, because of your name, all of these factors, I'm going to get stuff like being a football player, this, that, and the other. If I'm a white kid in Bethesda, I'm going to get stuff about free programs for NASA and all of these type of things. And my thing is, I just want us as African Americans to start understanding that this technology that we use, there's a danger in it that we're not paying attention to. And it's one of those things that's going to continue to keep us down and you know, to keep us in place. And so, you know, that to me is real important. Growing up, and then when our schools, I mean, you know, one of the things that most of our kids, especially inner city kids, will never have, they will never have a teacher with a STEM degree. I can sing because I can do math and I can code. And so when I teach kids math and do all of that, friends that I know, I teach them how to sing. I use math for what it is that's interesting to them. And that's one of the problems. We don't have a lot of our kids going into the sciences the way they should, in the way when they start writing these algorithms, talking about if you name this, that, and the other. We're not in the room writing those algorithms. So one of the problems is that we as African Americans got to start to understand this technology thing is real dangerous. And we really do need to get a handle on that and start, you know, basically understanding just how that thing is corrupting us. Like a lot of the laws that, you know, when they got the 3 strikes you're out. 3 strikes you're out. Everybody knew that was going to do nothing but lock black people up. But, you know, it didn't, you know, we didn't really understand the big game. And so I don't know if that makes sense what I just said, but my thing is we really got to start to understand this technology is really hurting us as we go along. And that's why I always tell people we're much better off when I was a kid than we are today, because there's certain things that are keeping us in place. And that technology is one. And lastly, I'll just say this: in China, this whole 5G thing, China has cameras all over the place. And I don't know now with COVID, I think it was illegal. It's illegal to cover your face because facial recognition. They want to know where you are at all times, and they're capturing this data. Google captures your data. When you walk into a store with your phone, Google's kept tracking that data as well. So you're being tracked in a way. We all are being tracked in a way that we got to understand that data can hurt us at some point. That Big Brother is here, and that we really do need to understand that the world that we're living in. And so that was the topic that I wanted to talk about.
And you know what's so funny is that when they first came out with the COVID-19 vaccine, it's a group of conspiracy theorists, I call them, who said not to get the vaccine because they were going to place an implant, a chip inside you so that they could track you. I said, why would they need to do that when you carry a cell phone everywhere you go? You know, people leave the house, they'll forget their lunch and they'll say, forget it, I'll just stop past Burger King. But forget that phone, that car doing a U-turn, they going back for that phone. So why would they ever need to do anything to track you?
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Irv.
Okay.
What is your opinion on these 5G towers that they're putting up? Because a lot of people have another conspiracy that they are the means of tracking us. Are you in agreement with that?
You know, let me just say that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe, I mean, they're right, it does do that. I was talking to a gentleman, a friend of mine, Indian guy, and they're working on a project where your car will actually, they'll have these 5G towers, they're all hooked to red lights and all of that. And if the traffic there's no traffic, the car is picking up on the tower and all of that. So no, it does track. The reason Google is what it is because it tracks everything that you're doing, and but it's for good, but it's still doing it, so it could be used for evil. So again, I don't think it's like there's something sinister about it. But we do need to understand that it does have that capability. And yes, it does track you. It's tracking you every movement that you have. You know, when you go into
one of the things they were saying is that these towers, where they're placed, that many people that live nearby are starting to show symptoms of cancer and other health ailments, and they think that it's from the radiation from these towers. Now we can't prove it yet. Anyway,
there's more radiation. The higher you go, because what happens with 4G, 3G, and all of that, it's just more information being handed at one time. So it's faster, and so it creates more heat. So yeah, there is, you know, and I was reading a couple of articles. There's still a debate whether it does, but it does create more heat and radiation than a 4G and regular towers. And you need more of them closer together. So yeah, there is some. Yeah, I think there is evidence that there is health issues that can happen if that does happen, because if there's more heat, more radiation. And
the irony in that whole situation is that even knowing that that is more radiation, that is more heat, that is a higher potential for health problems. As soon as people can get the next 5G device, they'll break the door down to Apple in order to get it. So I mean, everybody always acts like they are so concerned about their health, this, that, and the third. But the number one concern in today's society is convenience. They want more information at once. They want it to be faster. Everything has to happen now and right now. And even against the better judgment of knowing that this may be affecting your health, that new 5G phone will sell out before the end of the day, as soon as it goes on sale.
Yeah.
You know, that great topic, everybody. That being said, I mean, as we talk, Ervin's format is information. He's getting some information. I'm just listening to him talk. He's a math major. I didn't know that. I knew he could count. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't work in their field. You get what I'm saying? Because he was rich, raised in Cherry Hill. All we knew about Cherry Hill people is Donnie Glover say, one way in, one way out. You know what I mean? But one of the proudest group. But I don't give them a pass, though, because the CC and no, they proud of Murphy Homes. And Murphy Homes, something, man, I'm so mad. But they burnt it down. I'm going to go over there and get me a brick. They took Murphy Homes down. They never should have built that godforsaken place. Tear it down. They never should have built it. Highlander Ridge, they never should have built it. I'll say Cherry Hill never should have built it. East Baltimore never should have built it. That's how we say, because we're territorial. We don't know. Donnie Glover, he knows that I jump on him. Donnie Glover and his political friends, you know, they hard on Randallstown. They beats Randallstown up. You know what I mean? And as soon as they say something about it, I jump right back in there on it, Donnie. I don't want to hear you keep talking about Randallstown all the time, and you steady talking about the great Sandtown. Sandtown, all I know is when I got Sandtown, I got my dope cokes and Reddies there. That's the Sandtown that I know. You feel me? And you say you're talking about Randallstown. I worked all my life to get to Randallstown. When I was just now starting to get my money together, when I was starting to get when my package went from an 8-ball to a half an ounce, you know what I mean? All my mind knew was Randallstown. When I get myself together, Randallstown. He said Randallstown hoodie. And that's the truth. Yeah, because when I came out here, I mean, my wife right now, what we just installed 2 what today? What did we just put in our yard today? 2 of them. 2 what, baby?
2 fire pits.
2 fire pits. 2 fire pits. We remodeled the backyard. We got areas that you sit over there and put the logs in. We got another area that you sit around and sing Kumbaya, put the logs in the fire pit. And Donnie said, you need to work on West Baltimore. Ain't no room for no damn fire pit in my house in West Baltimore on Benlow Street. Only fire pit that we knew over there was called the House on Fire.
And plus you need a big chain on it.
Yeah, you need a chain on it. I remember when they first started stealing your flower pots and your porch furniture. Ain't nobody worried about your porch furniture, your flower pots. It was outside. We left it alone. More or less your bikes. But then we got up, they started stealing your flower pots. I ain't talking about living in West Baltimore. My wife, if they want to steal some flowers, they come out here and get rich. My whole house is a flower garden out here. You know what I mean? So, you know, sometimes information, the Donnie Glovers, the Ervins and them are the Reid of the world, and my friend that y'all call him Doc Cheatham, we call him Doc, is a very good friend of mine.
My frat brother.
You know, yeah, your fat brother, good man. Well, I do all your events down there, Mr. Perry and them at the great Matthew Henson. You know what I mean? In Easterwood Park, they do those outings over there, and they support my business, and I appreciate them. The guy that owns, another good friend of mine, he owns what's that place out there? Diamonds on Liberty Road. He's in my yacht club. I have to talk about a turnaround. I'm a black man that has a yacht. I ain't say a big boat. They call them yachts when they get 42-foot crisscross cabin cruising. If it ever sounds like I'm bragging on my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, it's because I am. You know what I mean? I ain't ashamed to say, everybody, man, don't talk about it's called bragging. Just tell me when I lie. If I put my time into moving Randallstown, hats off to Party Marty. If CC and I own a yacht, even though we ain't never on it, I ain't gonna never say that I don't have it anymore, or let nobody tease me and think that I lost it. You feel me? So I paid $325 a month, don't we, CC, just for it to bounce something down the water. We ain't going in last year at all. It's killing us. But I don't ever want to think that I lost anything. Nobody will ever say that me, the ex-dope fiend, went back out there and lost something. So that's how we do. That's how we do. Cherry Hill is where Ervin is from. He speaks on it and means it. West Baltimore, I love it. Donnie Sandtown is the greatest thing in the world. People don't realize when Gina Lee grew up right there on Gwynns Falls, to me, all they had was them beautiful houses they rode by. They were prestigious as could be. You know what I mean? Now, if anybody know anything about Gwynns Falls now, they turned that place from the murder capital. You get up here in Walbrook Junction and stuff like that there and get murdered. You know, that was a ritzy, prestigious area up in there one time. I mean, when you got there, you had arrived. And CC, we won't talk about that because she may, you know, I don't know if we can unmute her mic. I mean, mute her mic or mute her ears. But CC is from Fulton and North Avenue, but she wear Park Heights on her sleeve. She a Park Heights girl. You know, when people see backgrounds and things they don't know, if anybody's watching the show from the great Clifton T. Perkins, my great state job that I retired from, and where I met my lovely wife, Palmer Court. When they see CC's an easygoing, well-spoken nerd, the nicest person in the world. I met her just easygoing, the nicest person in the world. I would call her quote-unquote sort of docile. She didn't never, I tell this story, and CC keeps telling me this, and some things, Ervin, we wouldn't know, Gina, we wouldn't know. The person that got me hard at the great Clifton T. Perkins was a good friend of mine, Miss Gladys Kelly, and Eric Hall. Yeah, she was the building charge who got me the job there after leaving Taylor Manor. Got me the job there, and I thank her for it. I'm thanking you on air, Miss Gladys Kelly, and Eric Hall for getting me in a position with financial security because of this job. But she tells me that she does not. Is she from the Heights? But listen, she tells me that she does not know my wife. I said, how can you not know my wife? She worked there for 11 years. She was there the whole time that you was the boss, even though CC didn't work at night. She said, I don't know your wife. So I sent her a picture of her. She looked at the picture and said, I don't know your wife. And I just fell out laughing. I thought something was wrong. How could you not know her? And she's always there. But you want to know why Gina and Ervin, why they didn't know her? Because she don't get in trouble. She don't get in trouble. She ain't in the office. She ain't been rolled up, suspended, and or fired. She don't know the human resources people. They all know Party Marty on a first name basis. I stay in the office. Every principal knew me on every school I was in my life. They knew I was. Yeah, Maurice, yeah, Maurice Tate. They called about Maurice Tate. Yeah, because I stayed in trouble. CC never got in trouble. But it's funny how people can show you their true colors. Now that CC is my wife, she's nothing like the person that I met at work. You feel me? You ain't talking slick out your mouth to her. You know what I mean? She ain't your maid. You think you gonna run around and have me cleaning up behind you all day? I'm saying, what happened to Cece? And where's she at? Where's that nice person who used to clean up the unit for everybody else and used to go get the lunch trays when it wasn't her assignment? She said you left her back there at Perkins after she started being around you and being married to you. She learned that I ain't taking that no more. So
I'm about to say, as long as both of y'all have been his friends, you know you gotta stand up or get rolled over.
Yeah, real talk. You know, you learn. So as Ervin's format, his policy, his conversation with Donnie Glover has a program about information is power. CC said, read a book. Gina Lee's a historian. She'll start telling you later on. I don't know if y'all know this. Gina and Donnie was talking about underneath. This is the craziest thing you ever heard. If somebody had told me, I just thought it was a lie. I agree with him, but it was a lie. Gina Lee said underneath of Lexington Market was like a speakeasy. What's down there, Gina?
It's a club. It was a club.
Really?
And the booths are still there. The bar is still there. They used to have a jazz show. They used to serve food. And it's on the internet.
Crazy. Ain't that crazy?
Market? Really? Wow. Okay.
There was an action. It's still there. It's just, I mean, it's not habitable, but the club, the facade is still there. The ring booth and everything.
Oh wow.
Wow. We need to do a little reading, y'all. Get some of this information. I'm saying if you like me and ain't got time for a bunch of reading, watch the podcast. You want to learn some politics and stuff like that? 10 o'clock every morning. Let's pay some bills with our producer, Donnie Glover, blackusa.news, bmorenews.com, Channel 11 Political Analysis, author of Unapologetically Black, new book coming out. They had these podcasts and stuff like that so you can learn some things. In the morning, he talks politics. You know, he talks prestigious people. That's what he does. Ervin Reid is a political consultant. Who is your candidate this term, Irv?
This is a guy by the name of Calvin Hawkins. He's the council member at large in Prince George's County. And I ran his campaign 3 years ago. And we always go against the establishment. And so we did it and we won. Yeah, so it was. And then he's running for re-election.
Well, great job. I mean, listen to some of these people talk. And one thing about Ervin, he PG count. Ervin never tries to talk over your head. That's why I enjoy him. He never tries to talk over your head. Donnie is both sides. So Donnie will talk over your head. You know what I mean? Not being it, but he talks in abbreviative forms a lot. You get what I'm saying? If y'all know what I'm saying. If we're in the nursing field, CC will make you laugh. I worked the other night. I'm listening at the girl. The girl was in the seclusion room, and I didn't see nothing on the paper that you could log in the right. You got right where they are in the bedroom, walking around in group. Was nothing on there for seclusion room. So she said, "Yeah, party Marty. I don't know what you wrote on there. I put timeout room because the timeout room is the timeout room. So when you lock the door, it's called seclusion room. It's the same room. So I use timeout room." She told me, "No, you put an S up there. The S goes up there for seclusion room." We make up our own abbreviations. We put whatever the hell we want there. Think somebody understand. The S could be seclusion room. It could be the shower. It could be you saw the sun. We always making our what's that? Minneapolis. You know what I mean? We always making up our own words. Everybody tell me, party, you don't know this. You think LOL will start out being laugh out loud? Somebody made an LOL. Now everybody knows that term. LOL. Laugh out loud. You know what I mean? I thought it was stop meant spin tires on pavement. State tax on PUSS. You know what I mean? But it just means stop. We make a shortcut to anything and everything. Mr. Reid, thank you for that. Donnie Glover, who spends his time teaching me, or trying to teach me, he don't got a snowball chance of hell of doing it, to do some research on Randallstown. To do some research on it. I don't care where it came from or how they built it or what it's close to. All I know is I got a big house, don't nobody live next to me. I got cars in the driveway, cars out front, and nobody's breaking in them. Right, see? And then tell me what else we got in there. See, we got fire pits. We got fire pits out there. It's 90 degrees outside today. I'm going to throw some logs in the fire pit. I want everybody to see I got a fire pit.
I just wanted to know what everybody thought about this thing in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, with Andrew Brown Jr. I know every week it's starting to feel so redundant, like a broken record. They had to speak about these black men getting gunned down by police officers. And I know that we all are in agreement with the fact that all police officers aren't bad. As a matter of fact, most of them aren't bad. But there's one or two that is out here running around lawless and reckless. I mean, it's like a cancer. You know what I'm saying? So
CC, excuse me for cutting you off. For the novice like myself, tell us about the topic. Who are you talking about? What and where and what happened?
Okay, and a young man by the name of Andrew Brown Jr. in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. The police went to serve a drug warrant on him, and he tried to drive away out of the driveway. And they shot him numerous times in the back, and his family had an independent autopsy done, and they determined that the cause of death was a a gunshot wound to the back of the head. So this is like yet another. I mean, every week is something, and they, in this case, really, in my opinion, I think they tried to assassinate his character to make it seem like it was justified. You know, he was a drug dealer. They had a informant that was working, that had been buying drugs from him for over a year, and they were serving 2 warrants for possession with intent to distribute and sell, and 3 grams of meth and 3 grams of crack cocaine. So that was what the warrant was for. So he was backing out, and he was trying to drive away, and they just opened fire on him. And the whole time that they shooting him, his hands were on the steering wheel. And the whole time that they shooting him, they saying, "Show me your hands, show me your hands." So when they came out with the body cam footage, they only showed one officer's body cam footage, and it was 20 seconds long, and the faces of the officers were blurred. So the family, one of their issues was they wanted full transparency. You know, they want to see, and they want the world to see who these officers are. Why are their faces blurred? Why is there only 20 seconds of body cam footage from one officer? And the sheriff in Elizabeth City said that body cams are shaky and sometimes they're hard to decipher. You know, I sat back and tried to think of like, what kind of explanation is that? Body cams are worn for a reason, because to be quite honest, like, people don't trust the police. So we need to have something to at least make us feel like there'll be some level of accountability. But you know, this thing is just blows my mind. It's like every week, from one week to the next, from one Tuesday to the next, when we have this show, it's always a different police involved shooting, and people are so upset about them saying defund the police. But I don't think that defund the police means like not have a police department. I don't think that that's what it means, but it means that I think that what people mean when they say that is that they want to reallocate some of those resources to help the community, because like this is getting, it's just mind blowing. It's just baffling to me. So I was just curious to know what you guys thought about that.
Well, let me jump in there, and please, I bow to the panel after this. I think one of the reasons why that situation happened and the officer shot him, quote unquote, the officer was having a bad day.
Oh,
he was having a bad day.
You sound like
right. Because we do know that that's a valid excuse.
Like that white sheriff man.
Ervin, that's a valid excuse. Donnie Glover, he said the reason why the guy went off and shot all the Koreans, people of Asian consent. I'm learning from my panel teaching me, not Koreans, persons of Asian consent, thank you, is because he was having a bad day. Now here's the next police officer that's in charge of police officer, the spokesman. Next week we're going to try to get Mr. Clyde Boatwright on here. He's his exact title I don't want to mess it up, but he's the president or something of the police organization, and he's a well-spoken person. He gives you a federal order of police. See, thought I didn't know the more police. Damn, I was
Well,
close.
How about they did not find one iota of drugs in his car, in his house, on his person? Nothing.
Right.
Not one iota.
Yeah.
And what and what about the other Mr. Brown in Virginia? That's why I said it's one every week. The other Mr. Brown, Isaiah Brown in Virginia, the officer gave him a ride home. His car broke down. The officer gave him a ride home. An hour later, the officer returned to that scene for a domestic call, and the same guy that he just took home. This gentleman, he didn't die. He's still in the hospital. He's in very serious condition. But the officer shot him while he was on the phone with 911 because he said he mistook the phone for a gun. Now they say that he was yelling, he got a gun, he holding it to his head. So if a person holds a gun to his head, your solution is to shoot him.
Ervin, get in there, Ervin.
It just don't make sense.
Well, see, in Elizabeth City, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't release the film to the public, just the family. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The problem, you got to release the film to the public because, like, wait a minute, y'all, come on now, something ain't right. You know, you got to release that film to the public. So the public still doesn't.
But in North Carolina, what my understanding is that in North Carolina, they have to get some type of clearance from a judge.
Okay.
So they're waiting on that. But, you know, the family was like, I mean, that's all they have. That's all they said they had is 20 seconds of footage. Was about 5 or 6. I mean, they were serving a warrant. So, you know, they came deep. So, you know, it was more than one officer there. So why is there only one 20-second clip of body cam footage?
Yeah. You know,
well, like their lawyer said, that it'll all come out. It's all gonna come out.
And I think most officers resigned already. Yeah, so
but people they resign a lot now, thinking that they were going to be exonerated from this charge or trial or this mishap by leaving your job, like the lady that shot the kid or what have you.
right.
I tell y'all, there's no self-defense law. When that young man tried to jump back in that car to ride away and you shot him, you was wrong. You know,
that's the same thing. That's the same thing with this guy. That's the same thing with this guy. Was he wrong for fleeing when they were trying to serve the warrant? Absolutely. Yes. But if you shot him in his back, he clearly could not have been a threat.
You were no longer in imminent danger, is what the judge told me when I shot somebody that it wronged me. You know what I mean? You were no longer in imminent danger. You know, once he proceeded to leave and you shot him in the back, the word that the judge used, Johnny just there posted, you're a coward. You're a coward. It was a cowardly act. That comes all the way back from the Westerns that I watched all day, every day. It's a cowardly act. Okay, y'all, moving right along. Let me tell you about, go ahead, see.
I was just going to say, and then they do these things, they create these false narratives. Like with the guy, Isaiah Brown, they said when he was on the phone with 911, he was having an argument with his brother, and he told his brother, give me a gun. Then they asked him, did he have a gun? And he said yes, and he said no. I mean, did he say yes or did he say no? So, you know, they always try to create these false narratives around the victims. You know, I call them Jedi mind tricks, because as long as you're looking at what the victim did, you're not looking at what the police officer did. So that's just my opinion.
Your opinion is a good one. Let me tell you something. If y'all, I'm looking at the clock because this is my job. We've been doing this for an hour. Just kicking it, giving out some information. Thanks, Donnie, for letting us, use time like we do. But people out there, it's some topics and stuff. Ervin started talking about mathematics. He's a mathematician. You know what I mean? He has a degree in math. And we're all over the place about shootings. You know what I mean? People, please, just get all your conversations ain't got to be about the young and the restless. All your conversations don't have to be about the Orioles and the Ravens. I'm the number one Raven and Oriole fan, but Donnie said, his father told us, an intelligent person should be able to speak pretty much on any topic at anybody at any time. You need to hold some regular conversations about some things going on. You really do. I mean, Ervin gave you something about math, and his conversation about math opened up this whole can of worms to all other things that's going on in society. That's because it's called the round table. That's because it's called the forum. Donnie Glover calls it a town hall meeting. We just need to get in there sometime, y'all. Just talk about some topics. Donnie Glover, yes, sir.
I'm Donnie Glover. I ain't heard no segues tonight. Not one, no segue. I'm Donnie Glover. Let's talk. I got a pet peeve. Marty, I keep seeing people in Baltimore. CC, I keep seeing people in Baltimore with black and yellow on. I just want to say, if you ain't a Ravens fan, then wear your black and yellow in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Why they keep wearing black and yellow? Why? What's wrong with purple?
Yeah, that is a real topic.
They can wear black and yellow in Baltimore, but we can't go to Pittsburgh and wear purple.
Yeah. What's this all about?
Yeah, better not. That we laugh about that, but that's true. That's true. You know what I mean?
Okay, this is something that wasn't covered today. Mr. Ervin Reid, can you tell us a little bit about Party Marty in high school? Who was he?
Party Marty was like
with the bush.
He was smooth. He was always clean. He was decked out. He was just a smooth guy. He was like the guy on the, we got on the bus together, when he'd hop on the bus. Marty was like, people sort of like parted their ways with Marty because he was always funny, but he was always had a topic. He's one of those dudes that everybody loved. The nerds loved him, the gangsters loved him, got along with everybody, did his thing. And, like I said, he was just a smooth guy, man, that you knew when he entered the room, he entered the room. And when he left the room, the temperature changed. So, yeah, but he was just one of those guys. And we had a lot of people in here, like you said, a melting pot. People were from everywhere, and just, and somehow we all got along. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, it was like everybody respected one another. But no, he was most definitely one of those guys that was smooth. Everybody knew him. And like I said, everybody loved him from the gangsters to the nerds. Yeah, he treated everybody the right way. So,
Irv, I appreciate that, and that was true. We went to Northwestern. That was our claim to fame. We had people from all over the city, from all these different walks. Ervin and them. You see Irv now. Easygoing political house. James was saying squeaky. You know what I mean? You see these people telling Irv. I mean, we these boys was gangsters.
yeah.
Quincy, it was gangsters. You know what I mean? But they were gangsters in their neighborhood. Didn't nobody care nothing about that at Northwestern. The Jeters and them up Liberty Heights, they supposed to be tough and stuff like that. We ain't care nothing about who you are. I mean, Park Heights, Northwestern was built on Park Heights. Believe me, you had to come through Park Heights to get out of there. You had to come through Park Heights to get in there. And they had to be reckoned with them Park Heights boys. Remember all the karate boys, Karate, Peanut, and them, all them Mitchell, the Hawkins and stuff. But we, as they said, real respected real. We didn't go up and start a bunch of stuff because we knew it was consequences. Like now, first thing they do, back in the day, you could go home and get your brother. Somebody did something to you, man, sorry, tomorrow I'll be back, get my brother. And your brother come and fight, somebody would come fight, stuff like that. Now, you go home and get your brother and your father if you want. You know what I mean? These kids now dress your whole family in black. They don't give a darn about your father. Yeah, you know, I can live off my name. I was West Baltimore Party Marty. They tell you now, man, that's West Baltimore Party, man. I'm black, shorty, black, sticky woo. I don't give a damn about no West Baltimore Party Marty. Don't nobody care who you are now. These kids got their own little agenda. They don't care who you are now. You get what I'm saying? Back in the day, the dice game and stuff like that, you know, remember how back in the day you had the squeaky, not squeaky, I would say Andre Holmes, my man. I apologize if I'm saying anything wrong about that, brother, because that's a good man and stuff like that. He would always say he caught the dice and don't beat the quarter. Remember? I mean, I caught them, you know, you can, but he was bigger than everybody. So, you know, he could get away with that private in the neighborhood. But you couldn't get away with that at Northwestern crap game, man. We pick our money up and keep right on shooting. I don't care what you say you caught and stuff like that. You know you want to fight, there's going to be a big fight. But the bullying didn't work with us at our school. Bullying didn't work with us at our school. And I'm going to leave you one other last thing. The wall, we came in, the hip, cool kids used to hang on what's called the wall. You walk through the door and there was a hallway. You would walk through, remember there? You walk through the hallway and press something, lean on the wall, boom, put your foot up there, kick your foot up. You see what I'm saying? Everybody knew who you were. You had your legs crossed, your arms crossed. You kick your foot up. That was the wall. That was the cool people. Yeah, Jack, I was doing. Yeah, I was over that girl house. Yeah, Jack, I did this. I was Madonna. Let that class bell ring. Everybody, oh shit. You feel me? We was going to class. Yep. We was going to class. When I came along, man, nobody. You get class and you fail the test, man, we got back on the hallway to tease you. Man, you know Ervin failed, man. He got a 74. We laughed and joked about that. If we think back now, what 1.3 grade average or something like that, and so many people dropping out of school, I got locked up in the 12th grade. I got locked up. I went to jail when I was in the 12th grade. Do you know that I still graduated? I went to summer school. I went to night school. I had an 11th grade homeroom and everything like that because of needing probably 3 credits because of getting in trouble. But guess what? My mother didn't care what you did. It's about what you do after you did it. But you will graduate. You will graduate. You will bring a degree in this house. My mother, I don't know if anybody remembers this. I know Gina does. In elementary school, you had your grades. I was in English, math, social studies, science, and you got an E, G, or B, or A. And over there, you know, did you do this E, G, B, or A? Get a U in her report card over there on the right inside. Conduct interferes with the learning process. My mother used to say, that's my report card. I don't give a darn if you dumb as a box of rocks if you fail. But get a U. Let me fail. Get a U for running late. Let her get up there at school PTA meeting and they say that you was talking back in class. Let her say that you didn't bring your homework to school. She know good and well that she made you do your homework before you went to play. Y'all remember that panel? You didn't go outside and play until you did your homework. Now, kids come to the house now with no books. They ain't got no books. My mother want to know where your books at. Well, I left them in school. Okay. You ain't got to worry about leaving them in school tomorrow. You feel me? It won't happen again because guess what? When you get out of school, you sit in the house and read the book that she bought for you. You know, the whole format has just changed now. You know, we wanted something out of life. We wanted something. Everybody tried the past. See?
And that's why I saw on the news today, they did an interview with one of the students from Augusta Falls, one of the ghost students, and he said he hadn't been in the school since 2017. They had him on the road for 2 years, and he was incarcerated. So, and everybody is like, our school system, I mean, granted, we all know some serious problems with our school system, but some serious problems in some of these homes too. You know what I'm saying? They on there howling about how the schools have failed their children. If you don't know that your child got a 1.3 GPA, you failed your child before the school even got a hold of. You know, so, you know, I was just saying, that just made me think of what Maurice was saying about how your parents held you accountable. Like, let me see that report card. Where are your books? When do you study? Let me see your homework. But now it's just past the buck. It has to start at home, and then the school comes in and they do their part. But if you didn't know that, you can't say that the school system failed your child when you have no idea what's going on with your own child. We had those kind of parents that was nosy. My mother would bust up in a party if I missed curfew and drag me out. You know what I'm saying? Embarrass you in front of everybody. And now my motto with my children was always, wherever you embarrass me is where I'll embarrass you. If you go to school and show off, that's a reflection on me. So then I'm going to come up there and show off. We're going to show off together. That's just how that works.
Yeah, that being said, we're going to move to some topics and stuff. I love my parents.
And we're still paying for that child to go to school. And he ain't even there.
They said $32,000 in those 2 years was spent on his education, and he was incarcerated.
$16,000 a year. That's right.
They showed him his transcript, and he said, I ain't never been to none of these classes. I ain't never enrolled in none of them. I don't even know nothing about
it. Did he pass?
And he was passed. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they was talking. That's what our topic was last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did he pass? Right. I laughed. I thought it was being funny, and y'all said, "Yeah, he passed."
he had a whole transcript.
Wow.
Hey, y'all. Let's move along, man. What an awesome panel. Okay, Gina Lee, let me do my thing as Donnie says. You know what I mean? Let me segue in. I'm Marty, Gina. What's your topic tonight? Let's talk.
Well, this is Gina Lee reporting for Marty, Let's Talk.
Okay.
I have two topics. I'll be brief because we don't have a lot of time, but one of them is vacant properties. Now, this has become a burden on taxpayers also because we're paying $1.3 million to maintain 8 school buildings that are vacant.
Wow.
Now, that's about $160,000 per year per school. Now, that's money the taxpayers, we're getting nothing, absolutely nothing for this. So the other problem is the thousands and thousands of vacant properties in Baltimore City. And not to mention, it's a huge safety issue because, a lot of these properties are collapsing. So there's about 15,000 properties in Baltimore City alone that are vacant and no property taxes coming in or anything. So it's just draining the city of their resources because, you're not bringing any money in, but we're putting money out. Every taxpayer is. Now, in some other states, they are reusing or revamping these properties and making them apartment buildings. And I think we've all heard recently that the mayor is looking into finding some shelters and things for the homeless. I would like to see him invest the money, wherever this money that we've been spending, go into revamping some of these vacant properties. If you're going to house the homeless, put them there. Okay? That's just my opinion. Now, one of the reasons that contractors or developers, should I say, haven't been acquiring some of these vacant properties is because of our Baltimore City zoning laws. The zoning laws state that you can't build a commercial residential property like that next to residences, 35 feet within a residence. So a lot of these schools and things, they won't acquire them because of Baltimore City zoning laws. Okay. So then they had a program to tear down the vacant properties. They had all this money allocated on tearing down the properties. But that didn't go very well either, because as you tear down a few properties, you got 3 times as many coming into the category of vacant. So you tear down 3, but you got 9 coming in. You see what I'm saying? So it's not working. It's not working. And then I was looking at an interview where a lady who lives next door to a vacant property, she was just trying to get the city to cut down the tree in front of her house. And they would not cut down the tree. And she was begging them because it's dead. And with the winds and things that we've had lately, she was worried that it was going to fall on her home. She has a senior citizen's mother living there in her home. And now the tree is starting to grow out of her basement, out of the floor.
Wow.
But they won't cut the tree down because it's actually on the property of the vacant home that's next to her. They say, have to get permission from the property owner of this vacant property, who they can't contact, have tried to contact, so they say, for years. And so what is she supposed to do? You know, it's just, I mean, the problem in the city is not with the vacant properties. It's partly with the vacant property owners. You know what I'm saying? So that's my first topic. My second topic is the COVID pandemic creating havoc again with our student learning. Now, the Act Now Baltimore group, which is a group of clergy, have come together and tried to offer their assistance with a summer school program. And because students are missing school and the failing classes are continuing to rise across Maryland. So the absentee rates are high, and over 10,000 middle school students in Baltimore City and County are failing. So they just said, like in Anne Arundel County, 61% of students have a GPA of 2.0 or less. 61%. Okay. So in January, the CEO of Baltimore City Public Schools, what's named Sandra Santalese, said that they need more support and that some students can only get what they need with one-on-one in-person learning. So 2/3 of our 9th graders are receiving at least one failing grade. So this organization, Act Now Baltimore, is offering their assistance, and they're planning to have a meeting with the school board. They were shocked that they responded so quickly. With the school board, the meeting's supposed to take place on May the 12th. The school board says it's a good idea because churches, 1, they have the space. 2, they have the retired teachers and educators that are part of their spiritual community. And they said that they will do the background checks and provide the academic curriculum that's required of the Baltimore City school system. So they can provide the eating experience as well as outdoor camping or whatever they want to call it during the summer. So I just hope that this option is received well and that they can come up with a positive outcome. You're muted.
Yeah, with Gene, I'll say, look, again, I look at our schools and they work the way they're designed to work. And hopefully, this group can do something and do something creative. You can't I mean, we're in a different time, and we need different ways of teaching and touching our kids. And we got to get them interested. Like I said, when I talk to kids about math, I do it because they like singing. So I talk to them about singing. I can sing, and I can do certain things. We got to look at our kids because I get real sick and tired of listening to people tell me about our kids because they're just as smart as I was when I was a kid. They took when I quit my job in '89. I wanted to go back to Rich. I'm rich. Go back to Cherry Hill Junior High and substitute until I decide what it is I wanted to do. And that was in '89, and I knew then I could point that kid will be locked up, he'll be dead, he'll be this, because the schools just weren't trying to teach our kids. I don't know how somebody could get a diploma that can't read, because a kid can't get themselves a diploma. That's on the city. And I mean, we got to hold out. I mean, look, if you make it, $200,000, $300,000, you need to come up with a solution. And I remember when school started, they said we're short 900 teachers. Somebody needs to get fired. As far as I'm concerned, we can't. And again, we got situations, and I know people say it starts in the home. I had two parents in my home. And so, I mean, I've been blessed. And I don't know what it's like to be a kid that's never seen your father and that, your mother, is on drugs. And these kids are trying, a lot of these kids are trying to do their thing and take care of other kids. So we got to look at education differently and look at it for us and make it interesting for them. And we just can't give them math all day and they, no gym class but once a week. There's no library, so CC, they can go read a book. All of this stuff is crazy. It ain't designed. I'm like, dude, this just ain't designed to work. When I was teaching, I sent a little kid out to class and the principal sent him back. At that point, we all knew who was in charge. That little kid was. And it just got to be like, yeah, this stuff, it ain't hard to figure out. Motivate our kids. Our kids will come if you teach them a way that they want to be taught. But something's got to be done. And I hope ACT is a solution. Yeah, it hurts me every day. When I watched that riot, I mean, I had tears in my eyes looking at television about my hometown.
When I came along, I think about it. I never went home after school. In high school, I never got to go home with everybody else on the bus after school because I always played sports. It was practice every day from something: football, basketball, baseball, chess club. I always had practice. I had something to keep me busy every day. Most of the big guys and stuff like that never went home because they all played football. They all played sports. Jocks hung with jocks. Now they get off the bus and they get out of school and they run home. There's nothing for them to do. The wrecks are gone. I met my children's mother, rest in peace, too, in Easterwood Rec. I know Donnie Glover from being what we call ourselves Easterwoodians, meaning we hung in Easterwood Park. We played sports. A lot of our education was based upon sports. You didn't want to miss going to school because if your grades were failing, Mr. Welch at Northwestern, you remember him, Ervin, you couldn't play on the team. You couldn't play baseball on a team if you weren't passing. You couldn't get in trouble in class and think you was going to pitch that night on at the game against Douglas in the neighborhood where everybody was going to see you. You didn't get to play that game. It was simple as that. Now you ain't got to worry about it. There's no baseball teams in the school. You know what I mean? It's no gym. It's these things that kept you academically sound. I want to hit a few points and stuff before I let CC go to her topic. But Karen, who's our panel, our Holy Roly Bible toter, and one of the panel persons, that's what she said. Gina asked where they at. Ervin Reid said, well, where are those people now? And Karen would say they were the timeout generation. Remember that? I'm going to put you in timeout. Where they at now? They on meds. You know what I mean? You can solve everything. Give them Donnie said, put them on Ritalin. As we know it works, CC, what they say, last call for Hal, dog. What I mean? Now they got enough to try and get, they want to be high. The boy, and I'll leave this point. It took me a minute to realize we write songs and we glamorize and stuff, and we write some songs to knock stuff down. But one of the songs that the guy was singing, Molly Percocets, is Molly Percocet. Molly. I thought he was slinging Molly's and Percocets and making money. He was saying that that's what he's taking. That's what he's taking. That's socially accepted to let everybody know that you take Molly's and Percocets. Now, we all took Christmas trees, y'all. Gene and Ervin, black beauties, dummies. We took pills, but didn't nobody know. We snuck them. You know what I mean? We just wanted to get high, but we ain't tell nobody that we was taking drugs. You feel me? Now they wear it like a badge of honor. They're taking Molly Percocets. One last thing and we'll go off. Think about how their bodies are so far messed up. They get ready to go off with a pretty girl, a Gina. They're going to go off with CC. They're going to go off with one of them beautiful panel members. And Ervin, but you know the guy would say, boy, I'm going to take care of that tonight. I'm going to go off and get me 2 of these big blues, put one of these Viagra's in me. Boy, I'm going to hit her. She ain't going to, you know what I mean? She going to do all this kind of stuff. What's she going to do? I'm looking at you. You're 19, 20 years old, and you need some Viagra and some what's that other thing? They Cialis to go off and have sex with a girl. I want you to think about this: how your body has been, and your mind has been so crazy portrayed. Oh yeah, Donnie. Segue in, Donnie.
I gotta say something. This is what used to be normal is now abnormal, and what's now abnormal is normal. We grew up in a day and time where your parents, your mother, I don't remember her asking me, what did I want to eat? I see grown people asking a 3-year-old, what do you want to eat? I see parents getting high with their children. I told my children, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I don't care if you like me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you the way.
Yeah.
And that was a day and time where if somebody down the street saw you doing something, word hit your mother, hit her phone before you even stepped in the door.
Right.
So by the time you got there, she already know. She was asking you to see if you're going to lie or not. But she done already called your father. And there's something else. Ervin, you said you had a daddy. Maurice, you talked about your parents.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was grown that I realized most of the cats we grew up with did not have a father. And I think that's what's missing today. When you look at America's prisons, this country is 5% of the world's population, but we got 25% of the inmates. 34% of them are black. We only this much of the population in the country, but this much of the prisons. It's a war, and the war never ended. And another thing, we done let these people who can't raise their own damn children. I'm gonna say that again. We letting people who can't raise their own damn children tell us how to raise our children. Now, the last I checked, black mothers, they call them mammies, breastfed little white boys, little white girls. We fed them. Despite racism and segregation, we raised them. Our mothers, our grandmas, great-grandmas put breast milk in their mouths. We taught them right from wrong, manners. But now, all of a sudden, the head is the tail, and the tail is the head. I refuse to go out like that. I'm holding the line. I'm not your friend. I'm not paying no $2,000 for one prom night because I don't spend $2,000 on me in one night. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care. Be a parent. Bernie Mac said it. Parents are punks today.
And that's just like I always tell my children. I refuse to give my children money because they're grown. Now, if you need some money, I have some things that I can let you do to earn some. But nobody gave me my money, and I'm not going to give it to you. You know, we gotta really try to instill some morals in these. You know, I always call them, it's too many, I say man child, and not on my watch. I tell my sons that I don't think that a man should live off a woman. And just because I'm your mother, that doesn't mean that I'm not a woman. You will not live off of me. I'll give you a job, though.
See, Maurice K can tell you when I was coming up, when I was working out Druid Hill Park Pool, I had 4 jobs. 4. I was working at the American Red Cross. I was working at the pool. I was working at a bar, and I was getting another income from another place that I was working. I was bringing in some money. I was bringing in some. I didn't rely on
but
anybody to give me nothing.
But these kids today, they don't know nothing about anything like that, Gina. I tell my kids all the time, y'all in your 20s. When I was in my 20s, I had both of y'all and worked 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll tell me that you short on money. You ain't short on time. Get another job.
There you go.
Yeah, but remember the job. Remember the comment. What was his name? Bebe's kids. What's his name? The boy just dead. He came over with Bebe's kids. He said, "I was in the gas station. The guy's brother. You got any spare change? Some spare change? Get you a spare job." You know what I mean? Get a spare job. Ervin said this. You know what I mean? If we were listening at the beginning of the show, that's what he said. He said, "This is Robin Harris." Thanks, Donnie. This was by design. These things are going on. This is no fluke. This isn't something that just happened. This genocide it was predicted. You know what I mean? It's directed. Donnie said it's going on a certain path, and that path for the wonderful people is working. It's working. Hey, listen, Donnie, thank you for the extra time. Hey, let's segue into you, CC. I know you've been checking on your topics. I'm Marty. What's your topic this evening? Let's talk.
I think you missed it, Marty. I talked about mine. Mine was the shootings of a young black man.
Okay.
So,
well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying that that's great. I just wanted to make sure that we all got a chance to talk on our topics, because we ran over a little bit, and Donnie jumped in there, and he's not making a big deal, and so neither are we gonna make a big deal. Ervin, I saw you had a burning desire to say something, and I'm going to give you the floor for a minute now to talk about what you want to talk about.
Well, no, I was just going to comment on, you can't take a kid 18 years, pass them when they don't deserve to pass, allow them to come to school late, to do all of these things. Then when they get 18 and get a job, think they're going to be there on time and all of that. All of that, school is one thing, but preparation for school is also part of education as well. And so we got to start raising the standards on these standards were lowered by design. I mean, we got a certain standard. So we got to make sure that our kids know that, if a kid all of his life didn't have to be challenged, then when they get grown, they challenges is something they're going to do. So, I just think we need to all look in the mirror, because when we were growing up, we were raised by the neighborhood, and they don't have that, advantage that we had. They don't have the neighborhood raising them anymore. And so, we got to pray for our kids, but we also got to understand that we're doing them a disservice by not being tough on them, or not. I'm not even calling it tough, but making sure that they understand, dude, if you late, like Donnie said, look, I went home and I ate. Well, you don't want to eat it, then go to bed. So do what you got to do, but this is what we serving. So we just got to bring that discipline in, because a lot of times we just let them get away with stuff, and then that's their mentality. Let's just get away with it. And so
Donnie.
Yeah.
Excuse Donnie. That's what Donnie says 60 is passing, huh?
Mm.
That's true. You didn't pass a 60 when we came along.
Yeah.
60 was failing grade. 70. You needed 70 to just 70 was the minimum. Now 60 is passing. You feel me? We've lowered our. It was a commercial came out a long time ago. A little kid had these little hurdles, and he was running around the track, and he was stepping over these little hurdles. It's supposed to be how the Olympic run over the hurdles, and so he stepped over the hurdles with real low, and he was spinning and going backwards and doing it. Then he got to a real hurdle. He stopped when he didn't have a clue what to do, because somebody had gave him all these small hurdles. He thought that's what a hurdle was. He thought that's what a hurdle was. I'll use example for myself tonight. our router went up or what have you with this cable. This cable is the new gangster chick. If y'all don't know, I mean, we spend $200-300 a month for this cable, and it'll go up, and they don't even come by and fix it now. They say, I'm going to put what did they say, you baby? I'm saying a router.
Yeah, they'll mail you a router and walk you through it.
Walk you through it, and it didn't work. But by my wife being a geek and reading, first thing she said, dude, I said, well, we may have to go somewhere to do the show. She said, baby, we got fire sticks, baby. We got hot spots, baby. We got all these things that life goes on. We called it Plan B. So right now we're on our, what we on, baby? Hotspot. We're on a hotspot. You got to be able to make, because we came along in times where you had to have a Plan B. You know what I mean? It didn't stop right there. You had to have a Plan B. And then Plan B works. Plan B works. Okay, y'all, we're gonna move along and start bringing this thing to an end. We've been here hour and 40-some minutes. I'm gonna once again thank you for letting us pay Donnie for this extra time. Because if anybody doesn't know, first of all, we'll shout out Donnie Glover, blackusa.news, beatmorenews.com, and Unapologetically Black. His last book, and now he's coming out with a new book. This brother that gives us time. What is it?
I think it's I'm Black Wall Street.
I'm Black Wall Street. Okay, thank you. You knew that because you could read. If you just answer that, thank a teacher. That just didn't segue into Ervin laughing. That just didn't segue in. Let me say this real quick while I have you. They talk about taking, or even they have taken cursive writing out of our schools now. Has anybody heard about that? They're taking cursive writing out of our schools.
When they first did that, I couldn't even imagine that.
But I think the reason they took it out because the kids couldn't figure it out. They didn't want to fail them because they couldn't. I mean, we learned cursive writing in the kindergarten. Big M, little M. You know what I mean? We learned that in the kindergarten. Now, let me ask y'all a question. As we say, things that make you go, If you take cursive writing out of school, and a person doesn't know how to write cursively, what's the difference when you print your name or you sign your signature? Think about that. Print your name or sign your signature. If you print your name and then you print your signature, how's it your signature? You're using the same format, you're writing the same way. Remember, you always say you put your name up there and then you cursively, your signature was. Well, then if it's no more of that, then I'm just going to print that same thing and print it again. Things that make you
know what's so funny? I had a debate with somebody about this very topic, and it was almost got ugly because we were trying to decipher what is your signature. Now, some people, I guess this is the new school of thought, but I was always taught that your signature is your name written in cursive. Well, they don't believe now that that's your signature. They believe that your signature is something that you can scribble that's uniquely you, but it doesn't even really have to say your name. I mean, I know some people have handwriting that's illegible, but they purposely are saying that that's what your signature is, something that you can scribble that's unique to you. I'm like, no, your signature is your name in cursive, but some people don't know how to write cursive now, so.
Crazy.
That make you go, I never thought about that.
Things that make you go, I see somebody did a segue on that. Things that make you go, to the panel. We're going to have that next. We're going to start the program off with that. If you're out there into the world, call Emmons, call Emmons and his lovely wife, Gloria Emmons, who watched the show. We're going to call his recently retired disability. Carl's a big guy, Sandtown, born and raised, played a lot of sports. His knees is catching up with him, so he retired on disability. And it killed him because some people, well, we ain't going to talk about my wife because my wife always, her line, Gina, and Ervin, if you ever watch, she said, come for me. That's some Park Ice stuff. Don't come for me. I'll come for you. What does that mean? Don't come for me. Let me get my husband there before he come for me. I guess that's Park Ice. Don't come for me. But my wife is retired. She ain't retired because this or that. Now, she retired because she worked over 20 years for the state. And in the field that we're in, mental health, is a 20-year retirement. And my wife does not support me. told my wife what she should do is pick up some part-time hours. My wife is retired, and she means that she's retired. Some people do good with retirement. My wife we got a lovely home. You know what I mean? I don't do none of the cooking, sewing, cleaning, but she calls that her job. You feel me? Now, that being said, retirement with Carl wasn't a good thing. He felt like all he knew was work. He should be working and bringing in more money and this and that. I love when the mailman come bring me mine. Mailman don't even come no more. In my check, they give my Social Security, bam, the 15th. In my check, they give my retirement, bam, the 1st. I love sitting there waiting on it dropping that. Some people won't go to work, and I'm happy for it. Max went through so much stuff with his disability. He wanted us to talk on that topic. I didn't really get to hit on it tonight, Max. Hey, Alan. Hey, Miss Sherman. Hey, BB. Our Starch supporters. Call. We didn't get to talk on it tonight, but we'll talk on it. But it was so overwhelming. The Ervin Reids of the world, the Donnie Glovers, the Gina Lees, the CCs and stuff that'll do their research on how to get these things done. It overwhelmed him when they told him that he wasn't eligible the first time. At this time, he was eligible, but it beat him up. He went back to work because he still. Go ahead, man.
But just like Ervin said, that's another system it's designed that way. It's designed that way.
When he went there with a lawyer, they gave it to him. He had to pay a lawyer to go get what he's in. Carl been working. I've been on Carl since he's about 20, and I ain't never known him not to work. He's worked everywhere, 12 years here, 10 years here, 12 years, 15 years, worked all his life. And then when time come for you to do your part, they failed him. They failed him. He was distraught when he talked about it. He said, "Party, man, you know they ain't passed me." That's how he talked. You know they been, man. I said, "Well, what's up, Max? You gonna do this?" He said, "Man, I'm gonna go lay down." Ervin, Gina, see, it beat him up. It'll beat him up. That's what it was designed to do. Ervin is saying that's what the system is designed to do. It'll beat him up. And then after he went off and got a wonderful person with on the case, first thing they did was gave him his money. Say, "Yeah, you know, I got my money. It started last month." You feel me? But in the meantime, if he don't go get somebody to go to court with him, or somebody, if he don't have the resources that he paid out of his pocket for this attorney team, if he don't have those resources, he's lost his Social Security. You know what I mean? Ervin says it's set up to keep telling you no and for you to walk away from it and go back to work. And when he went back to work, he made his knees worse. Made his knees worse, but he don't know anything about except for providing. So that's a topic for another day. Y'all, hey, let's start winding this up, bring this home. Okay, y'all, thank you for a great roundtable discussion again today. If anybody doesn't know, we talk on a bunch of topics, and all our formats aren't the same. You know, topics aren't the same. Usually we up here with Kern and Al and Twal and everybody. Everything is real witty. You know what I mean? Today we had a serious conversation. You got to talk about some things that's different. You know what I mean? We're going to thank our guest, Ervin Reid, our political consultant, for coming in, my friend for over 50 years, but Ervin did such a great job as usual. Now here's some more information we don't know. I always want Ervin on the show. Yeah, Gina. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up for her. I always want Ervin on the show, but Ervin really talks a lot of politics, and Donnie talks a lot of politics, so I don't want that sometimes thinking that it monopolizes the show. I don't want everybody to think that whenever you watch this show, because you can get this same thing from 10 to 11, everyday politics. You know what I mean? I want this to be about something else. But Ervin has a whole plethora of topics to talk about. He has a whole bunch of stuff that we can learn from. And just now, I realized that Erv's format is math. He's a mathematician. You know, a person that likes math, you can call yourself whatever you want. The term is a mathematician. If you have a degree in math, you are a mathematician. You know, so that's what he does. He just talks on a lot of topics. So, Ervin, you've just now officially hurt yourself because CC and Gina know now. Here's what's going on. You know what I mean, Ervin? We would love for you to be part of our panel. So can we see you next Tuesday?
Well, Martin, let me just, I don't want to commit yet because
I know what you mean, but no, the catch is, that was really a sideshow joke. I did that wrong, right? Everybody laughing. But that's what we did. You come on here one time, and then before you know it, we start sending you the link. Donnie sends the link out there. You know what? You got the link. You can get in whenever you want. I know you don't want to commit yourself to it, but what we want to do is get some information out there. All right, y'all, I'll start winding this thing up, you know what I mean? Last thing, anybody got a quick burning desire that they need to talk about? Great, because we talked on a lot of topics. Okay, let's start. America, we got 2 hours tonight. Donnie let us go, let us run free. He jumped in there as many times as he could and he would. First of all, we're going to send a special get well to Al. Al had a little surgery. I don't think it was anything bad, but he commented again tonight at the party. He wasn't right. He still wasn't well. He wasn't well. And when you get out here, you don't want to be talking and coughing and this and that. Because now if you cough, remember, right, Cece? If Cookie see you cough, she think you got corona. My dog, you cough now, you can have allergies or cold.
There's no thing as a common cold anymore.
Yeah, you cough now, Jack. There you know. Al, feel better, Al. That's how Donnie came in, jumped right in there as the anchor. Okay, let's do this thing like this. Closing thoughts, Cece. Closing thought.
My closing thought is that we need to do better by our children, by our community, and by ourselves. You know, we need to make ourselves a priority so that we can overcome some of this systemic racism that's happening in all areas of our lives. So let's be vigilant and be patient, but let's not be so woke that we blind.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gina, Rosanna, Anna, thank you for your time. It's closing thoughts, Gina.
Mine is real quick. I don't care what the CDC says. Wear your mask. Your mask.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ervin, bring us home, Ervin. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, my closing thought is look in the mirror, because that's who can solve all of our problems. It's us. And we got to do it for us because no one else is. And let's start loving one another.
Donnie's closing thoughts go. When Donnie's closing thoughts is it starts at home. I'm going to bring you home with mine. Mine has changed. You know what I mean? The dinosaur, the great mighty dinosaur is gone because it couldn't change. Y'all, you need plan Bs. You need to change. You need to figure out what can better you, your community, yourself. Do whatever you need to do to better yourself, no matter what it is. Well, y'all know who we are. We call ourselves It's Party Marty. Let me say the show initially was called I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk. But because Donnie taught me to stop saying I and me, you know what I mean? I learned now the show is called It's Party Marty, Let's Talk. That's changed right away. So anyway, hands up to the panel. Hands up for another great show. Hands up for another great show, everybody. Hands up for another great show. Thank you very much. In the morning, y'all chime in 10 to 11 o'clock. BlackUSA.news, BeMoreNews.com, the Donnie Glover Show. Y'all always know how I bring this thing. Eminem, remember, y'all, this is not a black show. This is not a white show. This is just an informative show. Eminem's one of my greatest rappers. I don't care if he's white, black, or green, but one of the songs that he sings, he says, you got to lose yourself in the music, the moment. You have to own it. Y'all never let it go. I only got one shot at I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk. And I did not miss my chance, nor did I blow. This opportunity, y'all, came once in a lifetime, yo. One more, everybody in America, hands up, y'all. Hands up, everybody to the panel, and everything went on. All right, y'all, we see y'all next Tuesday in another, what is it? Wait a minute, how they used to say that thing? Well, it's 7 days. We got to figure that out. 7 days, how many hours, how many minutes? Somebody said that on that stuff. Anyway, y'all, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, CC. Thank you very much, Gina Lee. Reid, my friend of over 50 years, thank you very much. Good luck with your candidate and your thing. Everybody out there in TV land, good night. Good night. Good night, Gina. Good night, CC. Good night, Ervin. Good night, Donnie. Good night, John Boy. Have a wonderful day in the Lord to everybody.